Amanda here from Create Your Future. Welcome to the live. YouTube and TikTok, I'm live on both right now, and I am answering your questions. So, guys, I know we have a lot of new subscribers. So, for who's new here, I'm Amanda, and I'm a neurolinguistic programming practitioner. A hypnotherapist, an EFT practitioner, as well as a certified life coach. So, yeah, that's sort of creating goals and positive thinking and manifesting is kind of my gig, right? So, and a lot of the coaches that we have on the team here are also certified in a lot of the things that I am. Some of them have backgrounds in psychology and counseling as well. So that really helps. We're here to help you create a better life and get yourself out of your way. Okay. And that's what we talk about in all of our videos. And also for anyone that's new here, we do have a free course. How to identify your blocks to manifest anything fast. I've created the course. It'll help you to find out what a block is and what isn't a block, when you're thinking. Oh, hi, Bree. Oh, big fan. Thank you. I'm a big fan of you too. I hope you've manifested something wonderful watching our videos. So, like for instance, one thing I didn't realize was a block was questioning, right? I'm not talking about questioning why is the sky blue or how to do SATs or what a mental diet is or how to do it or what a block is. I'm talking about like questioning your manifestation. So if it's like you want to manifest Jerry and we're thinking, oh, does he like me? Doesn't he like me? Why isn't he calling me? All those questions are getting in your way and stopping you, right? So I think that's so incredibly important to, understand what thoughts we should be keeping and not be keeping, right? And you guys, if you are a member on the channel, then definitely I will answer your question first. I do have a couple. I posted not that long ago on the YouTube channels asking for your guys' questions. So I do have a couple I'm going to start with here, and then I will dive into asking you guys. So let me just go ahead and get these up. Some really good questions here for sure. So let me see here. Post, there it is. I would use my phone, but I'm using that for TikTok currently. So I probably should have got this up and ready before, but here it is. We've got quite a bit here. I got to move TikTok. I got to move you guys over here, okay? So thank you for everybody who is joining us right now. So here is the questions that we have. So how not to get affected by other people's assumptions. Sometimes people have different opinions about my life, how I should not get bothered by what they say and stay positive. Okay, so I totally get this. Okay, so the first thing that I did to help me, right, is understand that, what they're saying was always going to be right for them. Right. So everyone's always going to have an opinion. So I remember, for instance, when I first started my business, a lot of people told me not to do it. And it was like, okay, they told me not to do it because that's their opinion for themselves. That's their advice for themselves. So you're creating them to say, what they're saying because they're you pushed out. So, taking that standpoint and going, well, wait a minute, I'm the God of my reality, right? And they're just giving me their opinion, on how they would feel and what they would do, right? So it's a matter of saying thank you for your opinion, and then you can either intend, that they support you in what you want to do, or you can just move on. So you can either recreate them to be supportive, or you can just say, okay, well, thank you. I remember I had this one person in my life, because you guys, you don't always need to fix things, right? Like one of the coaches on the team here say, fix it or fire it, right? So, I remember this one time I created this person and they were very negative. I mean, it didn't matter what I said. They were like, oh, you can't do that. Blah. Like they were just like, would drain the life out of me, like seriously. And one day I was like, I just can't hang out with this person anymore. I realized I created them, which is fine. But I was like, nope, gonna manifest someone new. And that's exactly what I did. So you don't have to, you fix it or fire it, right? So, but yeah, I mean, why are they letting their assumptions, bother you? That would be the main question, right? So, I mean, if I let someone's assumptions bother me, it might be because, I didn't feel confident in my decision or, something like that. So what's the story that, you're letting it affect you? Do you know what I mean? I know I heard a long time ago, it's like, if somebody's not successful or, successful how you would want to be, don't take advice from them. You know what I mean? Everyone's got an opinion, right? So, ask yourself, why are you getting triggered by it, right? If that's the case, right? Well, I'm so happy to see you guys too. Yes. I have been working really hard on my mental diet. It's hard work. Oh my God, it is. I know it is. And okay, let's start this right now. It's easy to be on a mental diet, okay? Easy, right? Yeah, you know what, and you know what, when times are tough, when you're on the mental diet, and I was just listening to like a Neville Goddard lecture today, and he was saying when times are tough, like that's when you push through. When everything is showing you the opposite, and when there's so much circumstances and controversy and so much of the opposite, push through, because that's when your intentions are going to be the strongest, right? Because you're determined, and anything that you have resistance with, you have to have determination. Okay, there's so many times, okay, like I intended, for instance, that I would check my credit score, like I was intending to for a long time. And then all of a sudden today, I logged into this app on like my credit card app for this bank. And all of a sudden they have a free credit score button there. Like, oh my God, like I only thought of that once and it showed up. But yet, I mean, you guys know me, and manifesting my specific person, Andrew, was years. I mean, anyone on this channel knows it took me years, right? I mean, I manifested like free head of cauliflower like that, but like anything with resistance, sometimes we need to put in the work because we need to get ourselves out of the way, right? I'm just going to check on you guys here on YouTube here. Oh, I had to move this here, guys. I will get to your questions, guys, after I just go through the ones here on this post. I posted on the page to ask me questions. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry about my hair today. You know what? I don't even know. I need my haircut. It's just like I've given up with it, like right royally. I don't even care. It's like frizzy, and I didn't change shampoos. I don't even know. So, okay, another question. We were in an on and off relationship for 1 year. He came back 2 times after he suddenly stopped talking to me in that 1 year. How can I manifest my ex to contact me and to commit to me if he can't commit and broke up with me? And since then, it's almost been more than 8 months of no contact. Neither he contacted in any way or I. Secondly, I wanted to get my eyebrows microbladed, so I got them done in January. The brow artist did exactly how I didn't want them, and she was not cheap at all. I paid a high amount for the procedure. Her Instagram word was really good, and it looks so bad now. It's semi-permanent procedure, so it can take up to 1 to 2 years to fully fade. From last year, since August to September, I was manifesting that my eyebrow session would go well and look beautiful with these eyebrows. No negative feelings or doubt. By the way, nothing like that happened. What shall I do now that my college starts in June and I want my eyebrows to look beautiful? What did I do wrong? And how can I manifest to get a job when I went for an interview that I want? Okay, so let's start with the first one. Okay, so I mean, right here, I'm going to say that, how can I manifest my ex to contact me and commit to me if he said he can't give me a commitment and broke up with me? So circumstances don't matter. Circumstances are your previous thoughts. Okay, you got to have a really short memory when it comes to manifesting about circumstances and what people say and what people do. If you want to change, you need to change yourself and the story that you're holding. Okay, so it's like, okay, he said that at the moment, that's fine. You have to let it go. He didn't mean it. He meant that, it was true in the moment. Now he's changed his mind. Okay, you've got to you need to start shifting into the person that you'll be when he's ready to commit. I know people talk about self-concept. Me, I find that confusing. I like to break it down like this. Your assumptions and beliefs create your reality. So your assumptions of him, because he told you he couldn't commit and didn't want a relationship, that's your assumption right now of him. So you need to change that assumption and be the person that you would be if he was in a committed relationship with you. And what do I mean by that? Well, easy. Would you be thinking about the time he said he didn't want to commit to you if you were already in a relationship with him? Of course not. No, that would be ancient history. You would say, look at Amanda, he said that, but he didn't mean it. And you know what? We totally got back together the next day. You know what I mean? So that's really, what we're looking to do is to be the person, all of our thoughts in that state. So, when Neville says, get into the state of the wish fulfilled, it's like, how do I do that? Well, here's a really good example is when you say talk about, a time, that you and your friend were laughing hysterically and what happened, you're in the McDonald's and oh yeah, whatever happened. So think of a time when it was really funny and, someone told you a joke and you were laughing. When you're just explaining that situation to me, you're automatically going to start laughing when you remember that time. Okay. So when you think about, what you want and when you're making intentions and affirmations and you're scripting and you're writing the story, whether you do it, by hand or you do it in your head, even if you think, okay, you know what, I intend he wants to be in a relationship. I know he's going to tell me that. I can hear him say this, and you're creating all these, intentions and energy. You're putting yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled because your thoughts are in that state. Okay. So how do you know what state your thoughts in? If you want to be in a relationship and you say, I'm in a committed relationship with Jerry, now you're in the state of the wish fulfilled of being in a committed relationship. If you say, Jerry, well, he told me he doesn't want a commitment, now you are in the state of rejection and the wish fulfilled of not being in a relationship. Okay. So your statement that in your head, even the words that you speak, are going to tell you where you are. So we need to change the story about him right now. And we need to start saying, look, we're back in contact. We want to be together. He wants to be with me. He may have said that, but he didn't mean it. You know what? It was a mistake. He wants to be with me. He might even want to revise that whole thing. Okay. So as far as the eyebrows microbladed, okay, so I actually know someone who got microbladed and it was done wrong the first time. So when I read your question, I was like, I got this, okay? So the funny thing is we manifested and intended that it would fade really quickly, and it did, and they needed to get them redone, okay? So you know what? Everything is overhearing your thoughts, okay? Now, your one question is, how did I create this? Well, you know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest, and this is why we offer coaching, is because I don't know how you created something unless I know the thoughts that you had to create it. Okay. Everybody creates what shows up in their life differently. So like, for instance, I remember I had a client and she was great. She intended that, her SP was going to call and say, I love you. I want to be with you. I want to marry you. And he did. We were so excited. And she's like, but then the next day he told me he didn't mean it. And I was like, really? I'm like, how did that happen? She's like, I don't know. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know? Okay. So let me get this straight. You're on the phone with him. And she says, yeah. I said, then what happened? And she was like, well, I got off the phone and my first thought was, oh, he's drunk. He doesn't mean it. Okay, there you go. That was the golden thought that got the phone call the next day to say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean I love you. I didn't mean I wanted to marry you. I was just drunk. Okay. So you've got to watch your thoughts. So what thoughts did you have to create that? I'm not sure, but you know what your news story is? Your news story is that, it's going to fade really quickly and you're going to have it redone and it's going to be perfect. Okay. That's going to be your news story. Right. And, we live in a 3D world. So maybe in the meantime, you got to touch them up, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you need to intend that, like, the story that you want. So what's the best case scenario? Also, it's so funny. If you look in the mirror and you notice something, a blemish, you're going to really see it and see it badly. Like and maybe this doesn't relate, but this is what happened to me. So I normally do my own eyebrows and I actually got them done at a salon. And at first I was like, she did them. And I was like, and I didn't get, I don't have just regular, and she waxed it. I was like, oh, they look terrible. I didn't like the way she did it at all. And then all of a sudden the next day I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to try this on. I was like, they actually look really good. I'm going to try out the style. They look good. And then all of a sudden, like a day or two later, I'm like, actually, they look good. So, sometimes what we think doesn't look good, and, we can change that with ourselves as well. But at the end of the day, what I would do is what I did with my friend is just intend that it fades really quickly, really unusually quickly, even so that the next person says, wow, that really faded quickly. That's very unusual. And then, you get them redone. Okay. So that's what I would do. That would be my fix there. Right. And how can you manifest to get the job when you went for an interview? Well, you start going through all the reasons. Why do they want to hire you? Like, why are you great? Why did they pick your resume out? Why are they going to hire you? I think a lot of this, in this community, it's all about, self-concepts. Yes, I am successful. I am loved. I am safe. I am special. I am rich. I am abundant. But we still need to manifest, our assumptions about the other person, because, we say that we're like, oh, you know what? I'm a winner. I always get chosen. Oh, but Jerry over there has commitment issues. You know what I mean? So we need to also work on our assumptions about other people. I'm really big on that because, your world is made up about assumptions about yourself, assumptions about other people, assumptions about your microwave, assumptions about absolutely everything. Right. Okay, you guys all hanging in with me here. We got 2 more questions and then I will answer your guys' questions. Let's see here. So, are there situations where it's better to intend to manifest the next best option? I am drawn to SP romantically, but then they have a child, single parent, and I have no desire whatsoever to become a step parent. I can also see a happy future with this person, just the 2 of us, but when I begin SATs, I remember that they have a child and fell out of faith. I can't make the child disappear from existency, full transparency. I have times wished that I could, nor do I wish to manifest that I become okay with being a step parent. I enjoy my child-free life. Are there some situations involving specifically death, love, people passing away, or the existence of children that are unmovable? Are there some situations involving specifically death, loved people passing away, or the existence of children that are unmovable? Well, I mean, people pass away all the time. I mean, that is an agreement reality. People are born every day. I mean, there's so many, ways, like, I mean, I knew of a friend of mine who was dating this guy and they didn't, want a child either. And then it turned out where, the mom took the child full time and there was only, visitation, and that was the agreement. So there's so many different ways that you can do this, now the next best option, you can create and manifest that way as well. I'm sorry, I don't fully understand your question. It might be me, the last little bit of the question, maybe it's me, but, next best option, you can say, I intend, to get this person or the next best thing. You could do that, right? Or you can be very specific and say, I want that person. I mean, you're the creator of your reality. You can be, do, and have anything that you want. I mean, I intended when I was younger that I would be a grandma without having any kids of my own. And guess what? I have no kids of my own, but I'm called grandma. Andrew had kids and his daughters had kids. So now I'm a grandma. Right? So a step grandma, but I'm still a grandma. So, things will work out, I mean, they always have a way of working out. So, you know what, even do this then, what, I intend that, this happens and I'm going to get it no matter what. And it's going to work out for the best of all parties, and then, your subconscious mind will make it work out for the best for everybody. Right. So I think the thing though, sometimes we get stuck in with manifesting is just like having guilt. Like for instance, sometimes people feel guilty, manifesting an SP that's married. Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you're going to carry around guilt for it, then, you're going to be in your own way, and that's just what it is at the end of the day. I mean, me personally, my story would be, well, you know what, if my SP is married, but yet he's hitting on me and wants to be with me, then obviously he doesn't want to be with her and he wants to be with me and I wouldn't feel guilty. But I mean, that's your choice, right? Like, if you feel like it's morally wrong, you feel like it's morally wrong, right? So, I mean, you create within your limits, your beliefs and your values and your morals, right? And that's all there is to it, because the only person in your way is you. The only person you have to get out of your way is you, right? So, and these are all the stories, that we hold on to and pack around with us, right? I tell you, it's been years since I felt guilty about anything. I mean, and part of that is I don't do anything, to anybody that I would feel guilty about. And then if there was somewhere I felt guilty, which was kind of like wrongly placed, I've decided I don't want to carry around and feel those negative emotions anymore. Right. So, how do you navigate it for you? Right. So, yeah. So, yeah, so I mean, you can create it any way you want. I hope I answered your question. Okay, one last question from here, and then we'll get to your guys' questions. Hey, I would love to talk to you about something that hasn't been talked about on the CYF channel since at least 2020. What would you suggest to someone who is modest and altruistic, but at the same time very intelligent, very communicative, and highly attractive? I have been single most of my life because the few guys I really wanted have always had a tendency to feel inferior and to tell me that they can't offer me what I want, offer me what I need, although I really did everything for them and I didn't expect much in return apart from attention and affection. You guys put up with my reading. I love it. Andrew's a reader, not me. I love doing videos. they all ended up with average looking women that were way less intelligent. I have been working on my self concept for years, and I'm working on reducing my people pleasing tendencies, but I cannot act as if I wasn't intelligent. Even today, my dad said that a very smart woman um, over 35 have extreme difficulties when it comes to finding partners because guys don't like looking up to their partner. Even with my current SP, I like him since January 2024, everyone tells me that he isn't intelligent or morally good enough for me. Of course, I affirm for the best version and mutually fulfilling relationship in which we love everything about each other. I rarely fall in love, and I would love to manifest this relationship for good. Let's see if you or one of your coaches will talk on this matter. I absolutely will. My pleasure. So I really love this question because, you know what? Again, we're working on self-concept, and yes, you do need to work on self-concept. It's really great, especially if bad things happen and then, if somebody rejects you, and then you make it mean that you're not good enough. So of course you need to work on your self-concept and, and all this, I am good enough, I am great, I'm successful, and all that sort of thing. But you also need to work on your assumptions about others and assumptions about relationships. So you have a really big assumption working against you here, a very big one. And it is that basically smart women over 35 have extreme difficulties when it comes to finding a partner because guys don't like looking up to their partner. Okay, that needs to change. That's your big block right there. You need to change that, and you need to say, hey, look at, you know what? I'm smart and intelligent, and the guy that I'm with loves it. Every guy loves it. In fact, they look up to me. They're proud for where women have come from. They're happy I'm intelligent. And if you're more successful than them, then you say they love it that I'm more successful than them, because to them, money doesn't matter. To us, money doesn't matter. Okay. At the end of the day, right, money is just, what you get paid for, doing what you love doing. It doesn't mean anything. If you're intelligent, great, intend that the person that you're with loves you for it. I mean, I consider myself a really successful, intelligent woman, and I think men love that. And I've never had a problem finding men, right? And that's all there is to it. So yeah, you've got to start intending that everyone loves you, especially other men, like men, and the men you have in your life love you for who you are right now. Okay. And none of this story, I think, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of holding someone small to say, well, they don't want to look up to their partner. Okay, well, fine. Well, maybe not create the story that they look up to you. Maybe create that they're your equal and start seeing them as your equal. And if they're not, if you don't feel like they're your equal, that's fine. Then say that they don't mind looking up to me. They're proud of me. They're glad to where I am. They're happy I'm successful and intelligent. They wouldn't have it any other way, right? So we really need to we really need to change that story. And baby cupcakes, I just saw your question here on TikTok. Same thing. You know what? You got to start saying, no, it doesn't matter how I look. It doesn't matter. They love me. I mean, I've always been overweight and a little bit funny looking, in my opinion. And like one of my ex-boyfriends was a supermodel, and his friends would be like, why are you with her? And he was like, you know what? I know she's not like all my other exes that are supermodels, but he's like, I can tell you one thing. She is a damn good girlfriend. She treats me better than all the other ones did. And you know what? That's it. You just go through why everybody wants to be with you, why guys want to be with you, And I mean, I'm going to tell you, you know what? Every guy out there ain't that in a bag of chips either. You know what I mean? What is good looking is confidence. Okay. Confidence is what's really good looking. So have confidence in yourself. I've seen some guys that look like they've been hit by a frying pan, but they got this confident look in their eye. And it's like, oh, you guys all know it. Right. So, yeah. So we just need to change that story. Okay. We need to change the story and our assumptions about other people and what they think of us. Right. That is a very important one as well that I think should be added in there. So I intend that helps answer your question. So let's take a couple of questions from the audience, guys. I just noticed on TikTok, especially, I got bags under my eyes. I hope YouTube's a little bit more forgiving. I tell you. Hey, guys. Okay. Taking a look here. Hello, magical mystic. Angel, I'm good. What's up? Oh, Shannon, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you, Selena. Okay, let's take a look at some of your guys' questions here. Okay, one question. Um, let's go, Pixie. We've been here. You've been a long time, I think. I think you've been a long time subscriber. Anyway, we've had a fight. My SP blamed me of having ill feelings, revenge, vengeance. I did things to stand up for me, to get peace and justice. What can I do to feel okay? Well, I mean, are you wanting to make back up with them? Like, if you want to make up with them, then you're going to have to say that, your SP is forgiving and completely understanding, and understanding, I think, is the key word here, because, what you're saying is that, you stood up for yourself, and they weren't okay with it, or, you stood up for whatever, and to get peace and justice, and they didn't understand. And now you had a fight over it. So, you have to intend that, your SP, thinks the best of you, knows you don't have a malicious bone in your body, and is completely understanding. And because you're good enough, and that's what your mantra should be for a little while. Okay. So Bree, how do I wake up in a different reality? Well, you know what? Every moment of the day, you have a choice of what reality that you want to be in. You do. I mean, let's be honest. Every thought that you have is a reality, and every thought that you have will shift your reality, right? So if right now I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm tired, and oh, I don't feel good. Okay, I'm in that reality right now. But if I'm like, no, you know what? I'm good. I feel good. I'm in a great mood. I'm having a great day. Now I'm in that reality. You shift your reality. It's just like shifting states. Okay. That's where you shift into. So you want to wake up. You wake up and you say, look at, what reality do I want to wake up in tomorrow? I want to wake up in a reality where I'm abundant, where I'm rich, where I'm successful, where I help people, where people appreciate what I do. I mean, what is it for you, right? That everything that happens in my life is unfolding in my favor. Pardon me, how can you tell I've been listening to Neville? So yeah, you get to choose. You get to choose. The frying pan. Yeah, throw mama from the train, right? Yeah, I think that's the right movie. We should ask Andrew. He is the movie expert, Shannon. Okay, let's check you guys out here, TikTok. Who's got a question? So what do I do if I've been trying to manifest him for years, but he's still showing up stuck in life? Well, you've got to find the story that you're holding. You need to find the story that you're holding. What story you're holding to have him stuck there? And sometimes, like, for instance, and I've shared this many, many times on my channel, and is my personal story. So I had no problem in relationships for years. I was easy getting in a relationship, never had a problem. And then all of a sudden, I got older, and the guys that I started dating were previously married. And, and even the one before Andrew, it was like 7 years of going nowhere, like didn't want to commit. And I was just like, okay, I'm not fixing this. I'm firing it, And then I wrote a list, and I manifested Andrew. He was everything off that list. And then it turns around, he's like, I don't want to commit. I'm like, what? Really? You're off the list? Like, you're serious? The second one. And I'm like, now what's wrong with me? I've been fine all these years. I've never had a problem. And all of a sudden you two come along and you're like, nope. And then, it was funny. So I'm trying to figure it out. And then, and then it's like, all of a sudden it's like things happen. And basically I found what my block was that, I had a story that all men that were previously married had commitment issues and baggage and didn't want to commit again because their first marriage didn't work out. Who knew? Was it self-concept about me? Absolutely not. It was my story about them. So, you know what your block is deep down. You know where the story is. Sometimes it is self-concept. Sometimes you do think it's you and you don't think you're good enough. I mean, where does the story lie for you, right? So, that's my story about how my block of what my block for commitment issue was, and once I started saying, no, look at, he's over his baggage, ready for a relationship because I'm good enough, and then it happened like 5 days later with that mantra. So once you find the one thought, the story that you're holding, and you pull that out of existence in your reality by basically reaffirming what you want instead of that, it happens so quick. You're just like, why? Where was this? He'll show up like a dirty shirt and you won't be able to get rid of him. Your manifestation will literally chase you. right? So, and again, that's where it comes into what thoughts are you holding? So, one thing, if you want to like self-coach yourself, and I've said this time and time again, is write out a list of all of your complaints, everything that they said to you, and then start there. And once you start and you take those and you write them into positive intentions, throw out that negative list, read that new list, what'll happen is you'll read that new list 3 times a day, and then you'll find yourself adding to it throughout the day. And this will be good because you'll get the juices flowing, you get this momentum every time you think of them. And then, you create this little mantra, right? So of your most, biggest complaints. Okay. He said he didn't want to commit to me because he has relation baggage. Okay. So then you're like, no, I tend he's ready for a commitment and over his baggage because I'm good enough. Right. And then, and you'll start to add all these positive things and you will see movement. So right now I would say that, he's unstuck and he's ready for a relationship because I'm good enough, but what other story is there? Right. You're welcome, Pixie Dust. One more from TikTok, and then then I'm gonna call it a night. But thank you guys so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. It's amazing. So, you know what? I like this one. I've been struggling mostly with this imposter feeling. Okay. So like once I receive my manifestation, the doubt of deserving it creeps in. You know what? I love this. I love this question. I don't love this for you. We're going to change this. But, you got to start saying, I'm good enough. I think that's the biggest key. Whenever I feel like I'm an impersonator, I say I'm good enough. And then, you know what? It's like, who is good enough anyway for anything? You know what I mean? Like, why say you're not good enough? So always add I'm good enough. And when you get your manifestation, you can't end there. You've got to keep it going. Okay. Once you get complacent, then that's when things fall away. Like for instance, you want to get married. Okay, fine. You're now married, but you still need to keep up the mental diet that you're good enough to get to your first, wedding anniversary, second, third. So for imposter syndrome, okay. So the first thing to understand is like, look at, tell yourself you're good enough. Tell yourself you're good enough. And second of all, it doesn't matter what you've done, said in this world. Of course, you're good enough. You had the desire and you wanted to manifest it, so you deserve it. Okay, that's the end of story. You deserve it. So every story that you have that you think that you're not good enough, you need to drop it. You need to forgive yourself for everything. All of you guys are perfect, whole, and complete. And you're good enough. I don't buy this, theory that, we're broken and we need to, work on ourselves and fix ourselves. No, you're perfect, whole, and complete right now. Okay. You deserve everything that you're desiring. You deserve everything that you're manifesting. And when you get it, you say, I've got it and I deserve it. I'm good enough. Okay. And whatever story that's creeping in, you got to nip it. You got to nip it. You're not an imposter. You deserve to have that nice car. You deserve to have a great relationship. You deserve to have a family. The fact that you're conscious, you deserve it. That's it. Okay. All you need to do is say that you deserve it and that you're good enough. So you guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for being here. So hopefully I can catch you guys again in a live. Oh, one more, Diana. My belief is no one can meet my standards. You know what? To change a belief, this is a really good question. You just need to start saying the new belief. Okay. So your mantra is, is everyone I'm interested in meets my standards. And then they will magically meet your standards. And you just got to keep saying that. You got to keep saying it, and until you believe it, right? Because the only person that needs to believe what you're manifesting is you. Okay. So, if you catch yourself, let's say you're out dating, right? And you're like, he's not good enough for me. No, he meets my standards. He is good enough. Okay. And they magically will be. So you got to catch yourself and your whole entire thought, in the moment when you're out, playing in the 3D, right? Because that's really where the magic is. We can't be out in the 3D going, oh, he's not good enough. That date's not good enough. And swiping, no on Tinder all day long because they're not good enough, and yet go back and do some scripting saying, oh, I intend, that everyone meets my standards, right? You have to start seeing people as meeting your standards and being the type of person, that has their standards met. And so one thing right now, like for instance, right, like my SP Andrew meets my standards. Not once have I ever thought he doesn't meet my standards. Okay. So I'm living from the end of him meeting my standards. And, even if he does something that maybe, I don't agree with, I never make it mean that he doesn't live up to my standards. Do you get what I'm saying? So, you also, that's a very broad term, right? So let's do some NLP here. What are your standards? Let's get specific about this, because meeting your standards is a very general thing. It's easy to be like, no one meets my standards, but what's your standards? I mean, having teeth, showering, wearing clothes over, what are the standards? I'm just, being just joking a bit there, but, be clear on what your standards are, right? And then manifest that, that's the person that shows up into your life, right? Hello, I'm glad you made it to a live too. I was just on my way out though. So, but guys, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. We've answered some of your questions and the questions that were posted on the YouTube page. Thanks TikTok for being here. You guys are all amazing. Yeah. So yeah, we will see you guys in the next video, and I'm hoping to do more of these. So, and I think I would do more if I really wasn't worried about what my hair looks like. Because thank you so much, Diana. Thank you. That's really, really sometimes what holds me back, and I try not to let what I look like hold me back because, it's the silliest thing, that I could possibly have. So what is this here? Okay, wait. You know what? Somebody was saying, let's see. Yeah, I did a YouTube thing. I don't know if I can, yeah, I'm not sure how to do it. Anyway, but thank you guys so much. Thank you, Diana. I'm glad that was awesome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I thought, I was just outside having lunch or dinner with Andrew, and I was reading the questions, like the comments you guys posted. And I was like, I'm really feeling inspired to come on. So thank you so much. And then I fretted with my hair and tried to make it look good for like a few minutes. And I was like, I can't. And then I was looking at my picture. I'm like, my face is really oval. It kind of looks like an egg. And I'm like, no, Amanda, you look good. Like, just stop. So, I mean, the struggle is real, right? Anyways, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.